Hey y'all, it's because Mama said so, and tonight my family's celebrating Grinchmas. So my family's been celebrating Grinchmas for a long time. We usually do it in early December, and we kick off by watching the Grinch movie and having Grinch snacks, and it's oh so much fun. To start off, I'm going to make an extra Grinchy ooey gooey butter cake. I'm adding my cream cheese, powdered sugar, cake mix, and an egg to my mixer. I'm going to give it a mix, and it's going to be a nice, thick, almost like cookie batter consistency. Then we're going to press that into a 9x13 pan. Next to the mixer, we'll add cream cheese, 2 eggs, then we'll go ahead and add a little bit more butter, 8 tablespoons that are softened but not melted, and then to that we'll add powdered sugar and vanilla. Then it'll become like this slightly puffy cake batter that will go on top of our ooey gooey butter cake. But before we put it on there, I'm going to use green food coloring and yellow food coloring in order to get that really fun Grinch green color. It'll just step up the festivities, and it's so much fun to work with a theme. When you're doing this part, make sure you add your powdered sugar in steps, because if you dump all 16 ounces of it in there, it's going to kick right back up in your face, just like that. But once you get that mixed, you can add your food coloring until you feel like it's gotten to that Grinch color. The secret is adding a little bit of yellow in order to get that really special limey green Grinch. Now we're going to take that and we're going to pour it on top of our batter that we have pressed into our pan. We'll just spread this out as even as possible. There's a couple of chunks of cream cheese that did not get mixed in, and I'm going to pick those out with my spatula. But as you can tell, this is just not fancy. It's just super fun, laid back, casual. It does not have to be perfect, because remember, we don't do perfect on my channel. But we're going to put this into the oven at 350 for about 35 to 40 minutes, and then we'll pull it out and I'll show you what we'll do with it. Now we're going to start our crinkle cookies, and that calls for powdered sugar, a cake mix, and oil, and we're going to mix it together until it's a nice thick batter. There I am adding a couple eggs to it as well. But we'll mix it together and it becomes a very thick dough. And you put it in the fridge to refrigerate and then roll it into 1 tablespoon size balls and roll those in powdered sugar and put them on a baking sheet. Now I'm using red velvet cake mix because it's Christmassy and it'll look so pretty with the white powdered sugar. It'll look really festive. But you'll see it gets kind of difficult, but just keep working at it and it'll come together. And put that in the fridge for about 30 minutes. That way it has time to kind of come together and become the perfect consistency for rolling and putting in the powdered sugar. Then we'll put them on a baking sheet and we'll bake at about 350 for about 8 to 10 minutes. Again, depending on what size cookie you do, that could vary. Now we're going to start with our buffalo chicken dip. It's not Grinchy, but it's a favorite. So I'm going to add my sour cream, 3 cans of chicken, and then from here I'll add a couple of different sauces. I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of mayonnaise, 1/2 a cup of ranch dressing. I've got the Tony's ranch dressing there. 1/2 a cup of blue cheese dressing, and 1/2 a cup of buffalo chicken sauce. Then I'm going to stir all of that to combine, and it's going to be a little difficult, but just stay with it and it'll come together. Then I'm going to put it in that baking dish off to the side there and bake it at 350 degrees for about 20-25 minutes until it's nice and bubbly, and then I'll pull it out and I'll top it with an additional 1 cup of cheese. Now that my ooey gooey butter Grinchmas cake is out, I'm going to go ahead and dust the top with powdered sugar. Those edges that are so like green are so pretty. And then I'm going to take a red frosting. I just mixed this from regular store-bought white frosting with red food coloring. My daughter Scarlett really enjoyed doing that. And then you're just going to pipe the red hearts onto the top of the cake. Make sure the cake is nice and cool because especially with the powdered sugar, it might be difficult for the hearts to stick. You just kind of have to be careful and go slow. The ooey gooey butter Grinch cake is so adorable with the red and the green. And our cake mix cookies, the crinkle ones, are out of the oven too. Everything is so festive and it's starting to come together. Next, I'm going to prep. We're going to do roast beast wings. I had a request for chicken wings during Grinchmas, and so I'm going to take a bag of chicken wings and just lay them out on a baking sheet. Then I'm going to put them in the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes just to kind of cook them a little bit of the way, so that way when I fry them, we don't overcook them and burn the outside of them. Then I'm going to deep fry them in oil that's 375 degrees. You'll want to measure that with a thermometer to make sure that it's there, because if not, you won't get that nice crisp wing texture. Here's what they look like when they come out of the oven. They're not completely done, but they have started to release some of their juices. Before we toss them in the flour, I'm actually going to toss them in these juices. That way the flour sticks. We're going to add 1.5 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of baking powder, and then our seasonings. We're going to be seasoning with seasoned salt, smoked paprika, and pepper. I did about a teaspoon and a half of each. You really want to be able to flavor this since the wings are plain.
The wings really need to cook for about 14 to 18 minutes, depending on the size of your chicken wing and how hot your oil is. But that is what I am finding this day. In the back, you can kind of catch a glimpse of the the buffalo chicken dip. It's back there just hanging out until Grinchmas. Here is our buffet for Grinchmas. It looks so pretty. It's very simple. None of it was really difficult, but it's all delicious. And of course, we have the Grinch ready for Grinchmas. And here is my family sitting, enjoying watching the Grinch, doing our Grinchmas. Now, about halfway through the movie, I will go and make our hot chocolate desserts. The first thing I do is I'm going to make regular hot chocolate. I've got the recipe for both hot chocolate and white chocolate in the back of this video. But it's super simple to make. It's just 4 cups of milk, 1 cup of water, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, and then 1/3 of a cup of cocoa. And I'm pretty sure I accidentally used too much cocoa. Whoops. And then after this is all mixed up and thoroughly heated, we'll add vanilla. The white hot chocolate is done really similar with 4 cups of milk, 1 cup of water, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, and then we add 1 cup of white chocolate chips and let those melt down. And that makes the white hot chocolate. I've also got coffee ready. You'll see here in a minute, we make 4 different drinks for Grinch Night. We make a Cindy Lou Who, a Affogato Max, an Original Grinch, and then I do a cocktail called a Martha May Huvier. So keep watching. Our first drink is a white chocolate Cindy Lou Who, and this is achieved by doing a couple scoops of a cherry ice cream with those cute little pink cherries throughout, and then pouring white hot chocolate over the top. You add a straw and a spoon, and you have a Cindy Lou Who. I just love it because it's so little and tiny and pink, just like her. The next drink that we're going to make is a classic hot chocolate Grinch. We've been making these Grinches for about 10 years. This is the original. But there's 2 scoops of mint chocolate ice cream. Make sure it's the green one because it's extra Grinchy. And pour over your homemade hot chocolate. Add a spoon and a straw, and that hot chocolate Grinch is ready to go. And finally, I'm doing a play on Italian affogato with 2 scoops of coffee ice cream, and I'm going to pour espresso over the top. This is an affogato max, and it is so delicious. I got really good feedback on how good this one tasted. And I couldn't help it. I wanted to do some sort of a cocktail for this party. If you are not someone who drinks, then just don't worry about it. You can modify it. But I've got skewered onto a skewer those cherries, and I'm adding 2 shots of vodka. I'm adding just a little bit of the maraschino cherry juice, or you can use grenadine. I just didn't have any. And then you can pour over lemon lime soda and give it a swish. This was so delicious, and it was so good, and it felt so decadent, just like Martha May Whovier. Thank you so much for sharing Grinchmas with my family. Here are the recipes that I used tonight. I would love for you to like, share, subscribe. I'd love to chat in the comments. Remember, take care of yourself, your precious cargo. Why? Because Mama said so.